Because we got to get the knowledge out.
100%.
All right.
You good?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's go.
Welcome to Balance of Forces, quality platform that provides current affairs and business analysis. Brother Jamie, in this episode, we're going to be looking at celebrity alcohol brands and the business strategies behind that. Alcohol and celebrities are a big thing now. Casper, Grandeur with Mac G, and who's this one? Pearl Tusi as well, right? What are your initial thoughts on alcohol and celebrities?
So let's start off by putting some academic theory to this and discussing the general principles of business strategy.
Beautiful.
So Professor Michael Porter, is a leading business academic at Harvard University. He has made countless contributions to business strategy, very well-respected thinker. Now, he has a template which is known as Porter's generic strategies.
Okay.
And these Porter generic strategies are management theory around how businesses can strategically and successfully position themselves for a sustainable competitive advantage. So Porter's generic forces speak about how do you create generic strategies, speak about how do you create a sustainable competitive advantage.
Okay.
Now, he speaks about three particular strategies. Number one, being a low-cost producer. That means coming into the market at the lowest price for that particular product. Number two, he speaks about differentiation as a strategy. So if you can't come in at the lowest price, come in with something that makes your product unique, special, something that makes it stand out from the crowd, which justifies a particular price point. And number three, he speaks about the level of focus, specifically niching, and how you can actually either choose to be a low-cost producer or a differentiated producer, even within a niche. You can either work at a broad level or at a niche level. What Porter cautions against is being stuck in the middle, where you don't have a clear choice between those particular strategies,
Right.
and you're kind of like just in the middle trying to be everything to everyone.
Okay.
And he says that is the path to not having sustainable competitive advantage. Now that you have done this crash course in business, how does this apply to Casper's Biliato?
100%. That was actually my next question.
Yeah.
That was actually my next question. Let's go.
So I think if you look at this particular product, there is a lack of differentiation. And I think it poses a risk to their sustainable competitive advantage.
They rely on themselves a little bit too much. When you look at the actual product, for example, even from a pricing perspective, right? When you go online and try and ascertain what's the cost of Biliato, it's really difficult to get the price.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But even if you look at let's look at Mac G's Grandeur, and then look at Biliato as a comparison.
Okay.
Those bottles are almost identical.
Yeah,
it's almost as if they went to the same supplier to get the same white, the same gold print, and the same white on gold finishes. I understand that is very popular in the clubs, but that's not the only place people drink alcohol. But also, if you're trying to make your gin stand out from the other gin, it's kind of important for that gin not to look identical to other rival gins. So the bottle shape doesn't seem differentiated. We don't know about the distillation process. Is this gin distilled in a way that makes it smoother? They are calling these gins premium. But what about them makes them premium? How does this gin compare to Bombay? How does it compare to other expensive international gins which are higher up than Bombay and them? How does it compare to Hendrix? Let us understand what about your gin actually in the production process makes it premium. Because premium is not just about the logo. Premium is not just about how the bottle looks. It's also about how was it cooked? How was it processed? How was it prepared? Is there something special about your distillers that we need to know? So that differentiation there is something that is lacking. The second thing that I want to talk about, which is also in the business strategy side of things, is what comes from the marketing strategy, lessons. So there are the 4 or 7 P's of a marketing mix, and they look at the product and its packaging, the price, the placement in terms of the place of sale, so distribution, and also for the promotional activities. When I look specifically at Biliato, there's a very clear product with packaging. Let's say, okay, your packaging looks similar to McG, but
it's a product nonetheless.
There's a product, we can see it. The price, we don't know the price.
It's difficult
to ascertain the price.
It's difficult. I tried. In the comment section, let us know how much is Biliato.
Yeah.
We try to get about how much is
Biliato. Exactly. That's important. One of the challenges that we're seeing here is that the distribution model has not yet been clarified. I remember the first time I tried to check Grandeur and people were talking about how it was sold out. On Takealot, the link wasn't clicking. The link wasn't clicking. But now it's actually showing up on Takealot. But when it comes to Black Rose, I didn't see it in Rosebank. I didn't see it.
We didn't see it on the shelves.
On the shelves. Casper's drink is not available. He sold it at Konka, and then he sold some to.
He did put out a tweet like macro pick and pay.
He said it's going to be available, but the tweet is not corresponding
to what's on the shelves.
What's on the shelves right now. So giving everyone the benefit of doubt, maybe they will get this stuff sorted out as time goes. But when you look at those 4 or 7 P's of the marketing mix, by the way, there are 4: product, price, place, and promotion, and those deal with tangibles. And then if you're dealing with intangibles like services, there's 3 more P's, but we don't have time to get into all of that. But when you look at these 4 P's of the marketing mix, they have 2 out of 4 that are properly done, and the other 2 not so well done,
on the distribution,
especially when you look at Biliato. Yes, exactly. Now, when you go further, there are pricing strategies that need to be taken into consideration. There are 7 pricing strategies. I'm going to list them very quickly so that the audience just has an understanding. Number 1, price elasticity. Number 2, cost-oriented pricing. Number 3, competitor-oriented pricing. Number 4, marketing-oriented pricing. Number 5, skimming or penetration strategy. Number 6, strategic objective based pricing. And number 7, market characteristic based pricing. Now, when I look at how Casper and them are marketing this product or pricing this product, it seems that the strategy that they're taking is one where in the first instance, the pricing is being built on marketing-oriented pricing. That we are celebrities, we are big brands, we have taken time to make a nice bottle, therefore, we're going to price this at the same level as other luxury brands.
And this, I mean, because it's, like we said, it was really difficult to ascertain how much Biliato is.
Yeah.
But the price for Black Rose is
$2.99.
$2.99, $300.
Yeah.
And when we were at Checkers, just looking at the white spirits, the gin, $300 is a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's actually the premium.
Yeah.
Because most gins are like the low quality stuff is around like 150, 70, 80.
Yeah.
And then you get your crafts and more premium stuff, with Tanqueray at like 300.
And then Blue Moon coming in at a 450, the Hendrix going up.
You know what I mean? So that is a hefty price.
So 300 definite. So the price of Pearl 2Cs is $299, 300, and MacG on Takealot was retailing at $350. And of course, if you're buying under $450 on Takealot, you have to pay your own delivery cost, which I think is 90 rands or 60 rands. I'm not sure. But so you have to factor that in if you're doing a Takealot order, is that you still have to pay for delivery, which takes it up a little bit. Yeah. So my thinking around this particular approach on pricing, the fact that you just benchmark on the luxury brands or the premium brands in the market, for me, I think this is not a viable, sustainable strategy. And I'm going to explain why. Most premium brands take a long time to establish.
100%.
They have a 100-year history.
There's a legacy.
There's a legacy and there's a pedigree.
Yes, sir.
And that's what makes that particular product cost what it costs. But if you recall, there was a kettle that was launched or that was supposed to come to the market, Zianda. And that kettle was priced, I think, over $2,500. And it cost more than Smeg. So now, why would someone go for a new product with no, quality reviews, with no market desire accumulated over years, and simply pay more than the cost of SMEG, more than the cost of Russell Hobbs for that particular strategy? I'm convinced that that pricing strategy is the reason why Zianda as a product never took off. Now, if you look at Batu, on the other hand, Batu, what they did is that they didn't try to compete on pricing with Nike, with Adidas, with Reebok, with Yeezy. Because even though Batu comes up at over 1,000, there's a big price differential between Batu and
a Nike
and like Air Jordan or any of these
100%.
fashion collectibles. And I think that was an intelligent decision
100%.
because it was reflective of understanding the market and also understanding that it takes a while to build brand credibility to the right level. Now, that's not to say that there aren't case studies where people have created premium brands in a short space of time. Fenty is an example of that. Rihanna was able to build a premium brand in a short space of time. However, her pricing was actually quite good compared to the makeup market, and Rihanna is a global brand with billions of streams. So she wasn't coming in, cold. She was coming in with a full company backing her, full mega brand, and we have big brands. Casper is a big brand. Pearl Tusi is a big brand. What I'm saying here, though, is that when your pricing is just marketing oriented and you come in on the premium side from day one without also having differentiated your product, it then becomes difficult to justify the strategy. And I think that's what Boiti struggled with as well. Because if you recall, Boiti's, what is it, premium, is it a premium cider?
Yeah, premium cider.
Basically, it came in too expensive.
Way too expensive.
It came in too expensive, and I think that put the market off.
And also, like you said, with Porter's strategic generic strategies, there was nothing that really differentiated it. Outside of it being Boiti's drink. From a product, we didn't know what the distillation process was. We didn't actually know what the product is. We just know it was Boiti's drink. And so when it comes to that pricing, I'm with you on that.
So I think as we talk about wealth creation, as we think about business creation, something which is very important for us all to begin to talk about. We talk way too much about politicians and their shenanigans, and those things don't make anybody money, the political discussions. 100%. But these business strategy conversations, I believe, are healthy and valuable. 100%. But as we talk about them, we also have to start thinking very credibly and thoroughly about business strategy. Because if you don't have the right strategy, you are not creating a sustainable brand, a sustainable business, right? You may have some initial interest, but ultimately that brand may not exist 5-10 years down the road. Now, I want these people to succeed.
No, we definitely. That's why we have this conversation.
I want black business to succeed.
100%.
But we have to have the conversation now about what happens when someone sees Bonang, somebody who drinks lots of champagne, is part of champagne culture. She creates a brand, right? And people buy into it because they're like, Bonang loves champagne. They want to also feel like Bonang and participate in Bonang's lifestyle. Then everyone sees that and says, Bonang succeeded. Let's go. Let's all do alcohol things. So now you have 3 gins. Maybe these celebrities should have come together and made 1 gin. Because now you are not only competing with the other multiple craft gin makers, because gin has become popular, and everyone has this calculus that, South Africa is one of the large alcohol markets. There's a appreciation of alcohol and a healthy consumption. So this market is attractive and viable and it's worth billions. So let me come in and get a slice. How many gin craft guys are there? How many guys are doing white labeling of gins right now? There's so many people in the gin market.
100%.
We need to talk about these things. Is it viable for everyone to be just jumping into the same market in this way, hoping that their gin will stand out and win.
So I don't have a problem with them jumping in. I rate that more is plenty. We need that. But I think where I agree with you, I'm definitely there with you. It's just refining the strategies because we want these companies to succeed. And it's important to have business strategy conversations that empower these brands, to get it to a point where it can compete against mainstream. On that note, I want to know, brother, Grandeur, Biliato, and all these new sort of entrants and celebrity entrants, do they threat mainstream liquor brands, like from your SABs, from your Distel?
Yeah,
and
I understand.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's critical to recognize that the South African alcohol market is very attractive. I mean, that's why Heineken was in this process of acquiring Distel and all of its brands. And that's why you've always seen international alcohol companies try to enter the South African market. So there's a large market. There's a healthy alcohol consumption. Me and you, we both consume alcohol. So we're not judging alcohol, unlike Julius Malema. Right? So we are where we are because of alcohol, making this podcast, this episode rather. So what I think is that at this point, it's very early. I think that there's a lot of attention being paid to these celebrity gins because people know that Diddy, for example, was able to make Ciroc a successful brand
100%.
and take market share
100%.
away from veteran, vodka companies. So now there are going to be some interesting questions that need to be answered before we can respond to this. Number one, what are actually the sales of these particular celebrity gins? Are they doing the bare minimum order, which is 1,000 and selling out, or are they actually able to move volumes? Once they can sell 10,000 a weekend, 50,000 a month, 100,000, every quarter, etc. Then now we know that, okay, these guys are moving volumes. And that's where I think you may start to see the big alcohol brands and alcohol producers getting worried. And in that instance, there probably is a buyout that could happen. Of course. Because I see Heineken just trying to rather buy Biliato than have to compete with it. If it is indeed a big brand. So there are going to be some buyout opportunities. We saw with Vitamin Water, 50 Cent made a lot of money from Coca-Cola buying the company because Coke could see that, look, our sugary drinks are losing popularity. This particular brand is gaining market share. Let's just make an acquisition. So there are interesting acquisition opportunities for these particular brands if it's done right. And what does that mean? That means sorting out a viable distribution. It doesn't necessarily have to be that it has to show up in tops, but make sure that you've got enough stock for Take a Lot to handle weekends, for Take a Lot to handle month ends, for Take a Lot to handle Easter, those long weekend periods, New Year's Eve, Christmas, those kind of periods. So right now, I definitely think that management teams in big alcohol are paying attention to these products.
Definitely.
But they need to get the 4 Ps of their marketing mix moving: product, pricing, placement, and promotional activities. They're very good at product in terms of the packaging, and maybe let me not say very good. There is a product because it's not so differentiated to some of the gins, but promotional activities, they've been brilliant. We know about these gins. We're talking about these gins. Pearl, MacG, and Casper have made us aware that their products exist. But now, distribution, getting the price right, I think that's something that's going to be a lingering issue for them in order for them to be viable and successful in the long term. Remember, these generic strategies from Porter were about strategic positioning for a sustainable competitive advantage. You don't just want to be in the market. You don't just want to be on the shelf. You want to have a competitive advantage, something that makes sure that your product is picked more times than it's overlooked by competitors. And part of that may be feeling that this is a rich man's drink and this is what the celebrities are drinking at Conca, but it needs to be more than that. There needs to be more than that. And I don't think we're there yet, but I'm hopeful that these guys, whether they watch the video or not, that they pay attention to these kind of principles. And, some of them do follow, Do follow me on Twitter, right? So hopefully they watch this.
And brothers, we're trying to build you up. Really, this is what this is about. Brother Jamie, thank you for your excellent analysis as always.
Pleasure.
That's all the time we have for today. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we are out.